Create 2021 was about helping artists to develop an artistic research process. We took them through 3 phases, bringing them further and further into a journey of discovery and exploration of their own circus art. Last year, we took a similar journey and we finished with a performance. But what we discovered was the artists became very focused on the performance. So this year we decided to try a different version where we split the 2 of them and we just did the artistic research. This allowed us to delve a lot deeper into this process, and they found it interesting, challenging, and really enriching as artists.
Create is a research course basically, and it's about researching an act or a body of work. We're not necessarily building up to a performance, we're not building up to that piece of work. We did do that last year for Create. I was lucky enough to do last year as well. But this year is more about getting into the weeds of it. So really like dissecting our concepts and our questions and looking at them through different like practices or different art forms. So poetry and using masks to hide ourselves if you wanted to get into character, and how do you hide expressions, and how do you let go of who you are and become whatever it is that you're exploring.
So what we're going to give you is a poem, and your group has to devise a reading of the poem with all 4 of you.
Oh.
But it has to be a reading of the poem.
For me, it's very different and out of my comfort zone, which is definitely a good thing, and it's why I kind of decided to do the course. I thought it would give me something new and exciting and a new way of thinking about aerial.
For many circus artists, the performance is what brings in the money, and it makes sense then that anything that has a performative element to it is going to, I suppose, create a response. We wanted to remove that. So instead of having a performance at the end, we ended up having showings throughout the journey. So at 3 points, artists showed the outcomes of their research. This year we adopted the Liz Lerman Method. The Liz Lerman Method empowers the artist so that they can take on board what they're able to take on board, rather than having feedback forced upon them or pushed upon them. An example of this is where the audience, as such, are invited to explain what they think was going on, what was the intention of the artist. Then the artist asks questions of the audience. From there, the audience is able to respond back again and offer opinions on what they saw, and ultimately identifying opportunities for how things could be improved. In all of those situations, the artist can say, no, I don't want to hear that, it's not relevant right now, or yes, please, I'll take that on board.
Anything that's going to be useful for you. So like that's the point, is to get feedback that's useful for you in the future.
So then you have the week, the Friday and any other time, to remake or upgrade or play further with something based on the feedback you've got.
What this course has kind of taught me is that you don't need to just go with the first or the second instinct, that you can look at the third or the fourth and the fifth, and that's just as interesting. Last week we were asked to pick a poem of our choice and then look at the themes of that poem, and then kind of start pulling out imagery from that and trying to apply that then to our apparatus. That's actually been really enjoyable because it's challenged me to kind of think outside the box.
Time, like I said, is just invaluable. Really giving yourself that time to research, which is something as aerialists we never really do. We're always very performance focused. That's it, really just allowing myself to explore new options through these creative exercises.
So at the first phase, when they learned how to take the feedback, they were a little bit sketchy about the whole thing. Then they stepped a little bit deeper into their research and explored a bit further, got some feedback that was very positive and constructive, and then they stepped even deeper again. As artists, they're so conditioned to being performers that it was challenging to let go of those expectations. They were now being asked to give themselves permission to get it wrong in the interest of research. this was not a performance, this was a sharing of findings. And this was an opportunity to open up what they did and show it to somebody so they could take back in opinions, take back in ideas, suggestions, and maybe even more questions about what they were exploring.
I want to have more strings to my bow. Really thinking about a piece of research or a question to research is what I'm interested in, and different themes and character is very important for me. And especially because there is kind of a standard in aerial hoop that like this is what you do when you're on a hoop. For me, I find it more interesting when people do something unexpected and you know that the artist is being true to themselves and true to their question or piece of research or themes that they were exploring, and I guess really go for that rather than thinking of, oh no, this is not what you do when you get on a